Good morning, everyone.
Sound is fine.
Good. And the other side. And reverse. And shoe circles. And reverse. And ping circles. And reverse. And reverse. And block. And good. You can put away your sticks. Head turns. And center. And right ear up. And relax, and left ear up. And relax, and right ear again. And relax, and left ear again. And relax back to center. Cross the hands on the chest. Raise the chin. And relax. Drop the chin to the chest. Tuck it in and raise the back of the neck. And relax. Cross the hands on the chest again. Raise the chin. And relax. Drop the chin to the chest. Tuck it in and raise the back of the neck. And relax back to center. Head rolls. And down to center and reverse. And down to center and back up. Forward spinal wave. And reverse. And good. the Qua. And reverse. And good. And reverse. And good. The windmill. And good. The grindstone. And reverse. and all the way. I don't think we've ever talked about this particular exercise, and what I'm going to say is a basic principle, so it applies to all the exercises, but it really shows up in this one. The most important part of this exercise is the hip. Not all the hands that are doing all this stuff, but the hip. Watch. Now I say the hip because that's maybe the the central part of the movement and the most obvious part, but it's actually the whole body. The whole body is spiraling, and it spirals in this sequence, always in this sequence. The calf, the hip, the shoulder, the elbow, the wrist. All right? Calf, hip, shoulder, elbow, wrist. All right? The other day I demonstrated Dan Bien, single whip. All right? Same thing, only it's going to be on this side. Calf, hip, shoulder, elbow, wrist. Right? There's a reason for that. The reason is you want to thread your chi through your body, through your entire body. And it always goes in the same pattern, the mind to the danchen to the ground, and then back up to the danchen and then out to the hand, for instance. So you can see, we're talking about, say, the second half of this, right? The whole body is spiraling. This exercise is called Yuncho, cloud hands. The calf, the hip, the shoulder. The calf, the hip, the shoulder. So it's a continuous movement from the continuous thread of movement from the foot up to the shoulder and then out to the hands. All right? So let's do another set of these. One other thing I should have said. To make this work, you have to use a horse stance. A horse stance has a particular shape to it. It means your groin, your dang, is round, like this, not pointed. Lots of folks stand and they stand with a pointed groin, and that point cuts the flow of chi from side to side. So you want to be in a horse stance. Is there anybody who has never been on a horse before? If so, go out and rent yourself a horse this afternoon, and ride it, right? You can do this in a high horse stance. What makes it a horse stance is you sit down, not in your knees, but in your hip joints, in your pelvis, right? That's the most fundamental, most important biomechanical position in Tai Chi. So if you can open your legs a little bit and sit down, right? Boom. Now do it. Yeah, Kevin.
I'm a little, isn't there a point where you're trying to isolate the hip from the waist? Um,
Yes.
so when should that be in our consciousness? I was thinking, I'm in here trying to anchor my feet to keep my hips and do all this from the waist.
Um, okay, so I'm not there with you, and so I can't always see what it is you're doing.
Right.
But yes, the hips and the waist for most people are locked together. So if they want to turn their belly button, right, then they have to turn their hips. Mostly it's just habit.
Right.
But the truth is, even if you differentiate them, they're not going to move very far physically from each other. So there's another second differentiation you have to make that I mentioned the other day between your physical waist and your energetic waist. Your physical waist can only turn a few inches, 6 or 8 inches, maybe not even that much, without moving your hips. But your energy waist can spin all the way around your body. So you've got to develop those two differentiations, but do them gently. For instance, don't hold your hips in a certain pattern. Don't hold your waist in a certain pattern. Just relax and let things flow naturally. If you're conscious of these differentiations, they will slowly begin and build over time. What you don't want to do is mechanically manipulate your body. You want to stay relaxed through all these exercises. Does that get to your question?
Yeah, I took it a little too far. I did this exercise where I'd lean up against a wall and have my hips and my butt on the wall, and then just get the sense of moving the waist without moving the hips, to just see what that feels like.
Yes, it's an interesting experience. There's walls are very good for a lot of stretching and they're a good mirror for your body. However, unless you're going to spend all your time with your hips up against a wall, it's going to be unrealistic. So it is interesting and it's useful, but don't forget there's no wall here, right?
Right. It's
So
just a
just
sensation. Yeah.
relax into this motion and feel the chi going from foot to foot. All right, and then boom, boom. So the real exercise is foot to foot. The horse stance is incredibly important in Qigong and Tai Chi because when you are using a horse stance, even if it's a high horse stance, you're going to be exercising the biggest muscles in your body all the time. Even I'm just standing here, I'm exercising these muscles. So the thigh muscles, the butt muscles, etc. Um, it's also really good for your hip joints. Right? The hip joints don't get enough attention. We spend too much of our time sitting on our butts. And so, this just flexes and works with the hip joints. But it also keeps them down and in rather than. What happens too much when you work with an arrowhead shaped groin is you lift your hip joints like this in order to lock them. Have you ever stood at a bus stop and you're kind of tired and your legs are sort of tired? So what you end up doing is you lock your knees backward because it gives you a kind of strength. It's kind of a false strength, but as a habit, it's really bad for your body. Same with locking the hip joints. All right? When you do a horse stance, watch my toes. You open your toes, then open your knees sideways. All right? And then sit down just a little bit, like you're riding a horse. That's why they call it a horse stance. Right? Just staying in this posture through exercises is the most incredible thing for you. The final thing, and you can really feel this when you do it, this stance activates the energy channels on the outside of the legs. All right? That's where your real strength is. Those are the yang channels. So the real strength in your legs comes up and down here. All right? You can check that out when you do something like a squat. All right? When you come back up from the squat, you want to use the yang channels of your legs. So when you do a squat, just watch me. You do a squat. When you come back up, you take your arms and you press them into your knees, and you press your knees outward into your hands. So you're activating the yang channels. And it makes coming up from the ground so much easier and probably better for you too. Okay. Shoulders. And reverse. And the other side. And reverse. And alternates. And reverse. And double. And reverse. Okay, a new exercise. Take your fingers and put them on your shoulders. All right? And now roll your elbows backwards. Open your chest. Open your back. Open your chest. Open your back. And reverse. And good. And the wrists. And the other side. And double. And stretches. And the other side. And reverse. And the other side. And relax your wrists. And the ankles. The other side. And rotate. And reverse. And the other side. And reverse. And close. And open. Close. And open. Close. And open. Close. And open. Doling. And touch the earth. And close your pores. Salute our masters. And salute your classmates. Thank you, everyone. Guys, have a great day. We will see you tomorrow morning. Ciao.